For anyone who wants to save more, which I'm going to take a wild guess probably includes you, saving is an essential part of that process. And the question is always, how do I save more to reach my financial goals more quickly? To preface, this video is not going to be about living off of scraps, never eating out, running a '04 Toyota Corolla to its last legs, getting a raise at work, or living in a cheaper area. Instead, we're going to be covering a savings method that I personally use to increase my own savings rate from 20% to up to 50% every single month. And I know it can boost your savings as well. Hey, if you don't know, my name is Evan. This is my Money Marathon. I create content centered around personal finance and beginner investing, helping beginners get on the path towards building their wealth as efficiently and easily as possible. And in this video, we're going to be discussing a foolproof method you can use to max out your savings rate to reach your financial goals as quickly as possible. First off, I want to clarify with what I mean by savings. And by savings, I don't just mean money that's plopped aside in cash in a savings account. I mean any money that's purposefully not spent at the end of the month and held onto for a longer period of time. This could include a retirement account, an emergency fund, an investment account of some other kind, or any other account where you're not going to spend it for a long period of time. With that clarified, let's start discussing the method. Now, the name I've given it is Saving Until It Hurts. So I've created this flowchart to help you follow along with each step of this process, but the first step is to just automatically set aside money at the end of each month to savings. And we want to think of these in terms of percentages instead of absolute values of numbers. So instead of thinking $100 every single month, think 10% every single month, or whatever the actual percentage is. Now, this money can be set aside, like I said before, into any savings account you want. An emergency fund, a high yield savings account, an investment account, doesn't matter, just as long as it's set aside outside of your normal spending checking account, for example. Now, this exact starting percentage doesn't really matter. We just want it to be in a nice, safe place where you're comfortable. And the important thing is that first off, it's automated. We don't want to be making manual effort to get this done every single month. We want it to be completely automated through automatic deposits and automatic investments. Second, we want it to be in a place where it's actually going to grow. So anything from a high yield savings account earning about 4.5% a year guaranteed, up to an investment account or even real estate investment of some kind where you're going to be growing 10%, maybe even more, 12% annually. The important thing is that we want it growing on the side. We don't just want it sitting there in cash, depreciating over time due to inflation. For shorter term savings that you're planning to use maybe within a year or two, I'd recommend a high yield savings account because you'll get guaranteed returns and have high liquidity, so you can pull it out whenever you need to. Or for longer term savings, talking retirement, 10, 15, 20, even more years out into the future, an investment account is a better idea to get higher growth. So step 2 is to increase whatever that percentage is by 5%. So if that starting value was 0%, for example, if you weren't currently saving anything, up it to 5%. If you're at 20%, bring it up to 25%. Now, if you're not comfortable with a full 5% increase because you're scared that it's going to push you over the edge, go down to 3%, 1%. You just want to use the highest value that you're comfortable using. But the most important thing is that you're consistent with it, because that will make this method much easier to track and much more effective. The only upside, of course, to using a larger amount is that you're going to increase your max savings rate more quickly. And in saving terms and investment terms, time is money. So the earlier you're able to get in, the more ideal it is. Now, the last step is just to set a reminder a month or two out from now and check back in with yourself and see how comfortable are you with that increased savings rate. At the end of that time period, you want to check, is this eating into your monthly expenses? Is this only affecting your wants, things you don't really need, or also your needs, your things you need to survive? Your liquid cash, whatever you use to pay bills, like a checking account, for example, at the end of the month, is that decreasing, increasing, staying the same? These are all good measures of whether you've maxed out your savings rate already or have more room to go up. If you ever feel this savings rate starting to eat into your monthly needs, your monthly expenses, then that's the time where you want to back it down. Now, if the previous step was okay for you, then maybe only back it down half a step. For example, if we're working with the 5% increments that I personally recommend, go back down 2.5%, see how you feel there, and adjust as necessary. For me, my personal biggest indicator is the value of my checking account at the end of every month, because all of my money is going into all of my other savings accounts, and my checking account is what I use to pay all of my bills, all of my needs. So at the end of the month, if I see it decreasing significantly from last month, then I know that I've gone too far, I've saved too much. If I see it increasing from last month, I know I have more padding, I have more money I'm not using up here, so I can increase my savings rate a little bit. And the goal is to have it just about the same at the end of every single month. Now, all you want to do is just loop this whole process over and over again until you're at a comfortable stopping point where you have maxed out your savings rate. This method allows anybody to push themselves increment by increment until they max out their savings rate and save as much as they can. Now, my last tip for this process that I think a lot of people skip out on is that once you've done it once, you're not done. 6 months down the road, maybe a year down the road, you want to check back in once you've gotten a raise, a bonus, changes in side income, any other effect on cash flow. Maxing out your savings rate at one point in time is a great step to take, but later on down the road, 5 years down the road, you're not going to be maxed out anymore because your income is going to have increased by some amount. To really supercharge your savings and supercharge compounding over time, you've got to be making those increases every year or as often as you're able to. And always use reminders for yourself, or at least I do because I have an absolutely horrible memory. Use reminders for yourself in the future so that you never forget to check in on it again. If you like this video, dropping a like below on this video would be a huge help to this channel. I'm also very active over on Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok. All the links are down below. Other than that, see you next time.